try to keep up on the news. Anybody who follows me on social media knows that. And I have folders on my phones, Android now, iPhone before. I have one for the Middle East with a bunch of Arab and Iranian sources, all in English. I can't read any of these languages. Turkey. I have another one for East Asia, and I have newspapers from Korea, Japan, Hong Kong, well, actually South Asia, the Times of India, Hindustan Times, and I have three from Communist China, China Daily, Global Times, and the People's Daily. And I was thinking of adding a 10th to my collection, which I heard was pretty good, and it's the official Xinhua news agency, which was founded back in 1931 during the Civil War by the Communist Party. And it's not just a newspaper, it's the official Chinese news agency. So I thought for sure that's one I should add to my collection. And I went to the Android App Store and I downloaded it and installed it. Now, anybody who pays attention to the news knows that there's been a lot of stories, many stories about Chinese products and Chinese software and American security and the protection of privacy and stuff like that. We had the whole Huawei stuff with the 5G, that the government doesn't trust them to set up these 5G connectors in the country. We had earlier, we had Zoom. Remember, beginning of the lockdown, everybody started using Zoom, which is easy to use. I used it myself. But then they found out that some of the stuff was going back to servers in China, and basically people have stopped, a lot of people have stopped using it. East Carolina University, where I worked, sent out a notice, no longer use Zoom. They were using other platforms. And now the focus seems to be shifting to TikTok, and there's a lot of stories about that. TikTok is, used mostly by teenagers. I'm familiar with it, but I don't actually belong to it. You post these short videos. Most of them seem to be inane. Some of them I know are actually propaganda from people in China who get on it, and you can't get on it in China unless you have some sort of permission. So there's been concerns about that, and now the Trump administration is talking about cracking down on TikTok. But something happened strange with me the other day when I downloaded that Xinhua app, and that's what I want to talk about. Now, at least on Android. I don't remember what used to happen when I was on in iOS. But on Android, when you download an app, especially news apps and things like that, where they want to feed you with information and advertising, you usually will get a notice the first time you use it saying that the app wants to send you notifications. And I see this so many times. I've got over 200 apps on my phone. You just hit yes and you move on. I don't really mind if they send me notifications. I just delete most of them in my email. And this way, they probably get ad revenue. And since I'm downloading it for free, I'd be like, okay, I'll let them send me notifications. It's part of the price of doing business with them. And I'm not offended at that. I'm not alarmed by that. So I see that all the time. And I see it so many times that when it pops up, I just instinctively hit okay, or allow. I think it's usually allow or deny. So I'll hit allow, and that's it. But something happened differently with the Xinhua app that I did notice. Now, maybe normally most days I wouldn't have noticed, but this particular day last week, I don't know, it was a couple days ago, I did notice. Like I said, most apps, if you install them, the first time you use them, you'll get this, allow or deny notifications. But that's not what popped up on the Xinhua app. What popped up was, and you'll see a picture of it in one of the corners. I'm not sure where I'm going to put it when I'm recording this. But it didn't just ask for that. It wanted access to my photos, access to my media, and access to all my files on my phone. And I thought, why do they need this stuff? I mean, send me a notification, okay. Why do they need access to all my photos on my phone? And there are, thousands on my phone and on the drive that's attached to it. Media, what's that mean? Is that music? Is that all my videos? Or how do you define media? And files. I mean, files means if I hit yes, Xinhua, while it's running, will have access, I would assume, to all the files on my phone if I approve this. If I don't say deny, that's what's going to happen. I've never seen this before. And like I said, I have just on my Android device, I have over 200 apps downloaded. I've never seen one. I mean, obviously, if you download some sort of camera app, it wants access to your camera and your microphone. I'm accustomed to that. But to get into my files, all the photos, why does a newspaper, a news agency, require access to my photos? Now, obviously, the question is they don't. So I hit deny. But how many people just instinctively, because you see this all the time, I mean, I've seen it over 200 times downloading software, just hit, yeah, okay, allow, and off you go. So I hit deny to see if it would not work, but it still did work. But I was wondering, what's it doing? I denied it, but how do I know what's happening behind the scenes? I mean, this just to me was troubling. And it just happened to come from China. If it had come from Turkey or it had come from Great Britain, I would have been just as concerned. So I closed it, I slid it up and deleted it, and wiped it off my phone. So if you have any concern about privacy, and you have any concern about privacy and devices or things coming from China, start paying attention to what you're being asked. And my recommendation would be don't download the Xinhua app. I mean, it's a very nice app. I did open it, look at it, and moved around in it and looked at the stories. I mean, it's very well done, very professional. It looks really good. And because it's a Chinese communist app, you don't see a lot of ads in it. Like you do if you go to some of the other Western or especially American news organizations. It's story ad, and even ads with inside the story. You have to be careful where you click, or you're going to click on an ad. One of the nice things about communist papers is, because I guess they're not capitalist, you usually see ads, and there are a lot of corporations wouldn't want to advertise, in the Xinhua app functioning. But I know I just find it troubling. I mean, we know what went on with Zoom. We know what went on with Huawei. Now they're talking about TikTok. So it really, after this happened, I started wondering about how much we can trust TikTok, and Lord knows what the administration knows beyond what I know. I mean, I'm just dealing with one little app on one little phone. But if you have concerns, I would be careful downloading anything from China, because I'm not sure. I mean, what Xinhua wanted to get in all the files of my phone. That's what it said, and you can see that in the screenshot that I posted. All the files of my phone. Why do they need that? How many people have downloaded that app and just instinctively said, yeah, allow, and didn't even pay attention to what they were allowing? All my photos. I mean, it's just amazing to me, and very troubling. And that's why I didn't allow it. I denied it, and then I deleted it. And I'm not going to download it again. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, leave a comment, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification button so you know next time I post a video. And until that next time, I am out of here.